Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Randy, and I'm here with Kristen. Today, we're just doing a question and answer session to talk about questions that are coming in. Right now, everybody's making a lot of last-minute decisions for purchases, and so we figured this would be a good time to have kind of a discussion, answer a few of the questions. If you have questions, feel free to jump in and ask. It's a good time to do that, and we'll get an answer for you. So I'm going to start with one of the easiest. Jamie submitted. She said, "Why have I ordered at least 5 boxes of curricula from Master Books this year, and I still keep finding more excuses to order more?"
Woohoo! Go, Jamie.
Exactly. Well, I think one of the things when we approached Master Books, it's been 5 years ago. Yeah. 2012. One of the things we said is homeschoolers love Master Books products. They just don't know how to bring it into their homeschool. And we have over 600 SKUs in the warehouse. And so what you see in an education catalog, like that's an older catalog, but what you see in the education catalog is just a very small portion of the books that Master Books publishes. Right. So a lot of times moms are going through the websites, or they see a catalog come in or something like that, and they'll be like, "Well, I didn't even know this book was published." And we have some amazing authors. We have one of the Oak Ridge boys has published, like G.I. Joe and Lily is just a fantastic book that is published. We have just the Maria von Trapp story. We have different missionary stories. Over the years, they've accumulated a lot of titles.
Yeah, I suggest you dig deep, because there's a lot to mine there. A lot of really good books.
Yeah, we've been publishing since 1975 to 76, so 40 years of publishing, and some of those books are still in print. So good morning to Stephanie, Diane. Is that a Diane?
I don't see. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yep. Julie, Carrie, Stephanie, Jessica, and Desiree.
And Angela.
And Angela.
Carrie, did you get her at the top?
Oh, and Carrie as well. All right.
Hi to everyone who's on.
Yes. So we're going to be answering some questions. If you have additional questions, please feel free to jump in. We'll try to keep track with 2 of us here. And hopefully between the 2 of us, we should come up with an answer. Whether or not it's right, we don't know, but at least we'll give you an answer. Okay.
We're going to aim to have them right.
Stephanie asked about the lab kits. And I did put a link in there, but Home Science Tools does have a lab set for our chemistry. And so if you're using the master's class chemistry, the new chemistry for 10th grade, that is available from Home Science Tools. Right. And if you need another link, feel free to ask. But
and if you have a lot of the items already, what I would suggest you do is just print off a copy of their lab kit, check off what you already have, and then just go to their website and do a search for the individual items.
If you do a search in Moms of Master Books and you do like lab, I think if you do lab kit or something like that, I've actually posted the entire lab set.
Either way, just mark off and then just search Home Science Tools for the single items.
Right. That's the complete set, everything that you would need for it. Mm-hmm. So, okay. Emily asks, how many lessons are in the God's Design for Life for Beginners? How many days a week is a recommended schedule? So what I'm going to do is we'll talk a little bit about the God's Design for Life for the beginners, because that's at the final stage. That's about to go to printer.
Yes, we have a big, thick printout. Don't let that scare you, because when it comes in book form, it's not as scary.
But it is a solid curriculum. It's 300 and I forget what the page count is. 365 or 335 pages.
So that's probably there's 400 and something. How many?
It's pretty close
to that one. Mm-hmm.
So after a printer gets it, it goes from this to this.
Praise God for that. That'd be kind of hard to manage in a schoolroom.
But this is the Life for Beginners series is the first that's been produced for K through 2nd grade. It covers the same topics, plants, human body, and animals. I'm going to read the...
And that's the grade range. It's 1 year worth. It's 1 year. If you do it the way that it's laid out,
okay,
it's a year worth of curriculum. So you're not going to have in there enough to cover you from kindergarten to second grade. I just want to clarify that the schedule is a 1 year schedule. So you would complete this with your student in a year's time if you do it the way that it was put together.
Right. It has 2 schedules available. One schedule in the book is to be done independently. That's 3 to 4 days a week.
Not independently as in your kid goes off and does it independently.
No.
As a standalone course.
Yes.
Homeschool moms see independently as
okay.
kid does it on
so
their
let me
own.
explain again. We have for grades 3 through 8, we have the God's Design for Life.
Right.
Now, since this has come out, Answers in Genesis produced and we licensed and repackaged the Life for Beginners, which is the lower elementary edition of this.
Right.
And so when I say independently, there's a schedule that comes in the book that's meant to be done where this is a standalone course.
Standalone is the word to use on that.
Standalone.
Standalone, yes.
There's also, Master Books has developed a schedule to be done where you could do the beginner's course alongside this course.
Right.
It requires a little bit from the schedule standpoint. And I think that's going to be a download.
That's a download. If you're using the life course with your older students, we've developed a schedule that it marries up all the topics. The problem is it's a little bit weird in the schedule because your older students may cover the topics that are in this maybe on a Monday, Tuesday, and a Friday 1 week, and maybe only a Monday the following week. And so it just varies a lot. And so that's why we offer it as a download. So we have it available, but we didn't want to confuse the moms that are using it as a standalone course.
Right.
So as a standalone course, you're going to do science 3 to 4 days a week with a more consistent schedule.
So we are developing marketing verbiage as we speak.
Yes,
That's why.
are.
Welcome to the magic. So Life Beginners, let me read the teacher guide. The teacher introduction very quickly. Welcome to God's Design Science for Beginners. God's Design for Life for Beginners includes plant, animals, and the human body. This set includes a student textbook and a teacher supplement with answer key. So the one difference here with this is when you get into the levels 3 through 8, there's 2 books. There's a teacher guide and a student book. This book is 1 book, covers everything.
Right. What we've tried to do is we've tried to keep consistency. So our math is all 1 book. Our My Story is 1 book. Language lessons, 1 book. Right. And so in our science, we didn't want to break that pattern. So again, all conclusive 1 book for the lower grades.
Lower elementary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the textbook contains 3 separate books, each of which has 35 lessons. Each lesson includes the text to read, vocabulary words to trace, and I'll show you a sample of that in a minute. Review questions, 1 or more activities, which may be a pen on paper activity, a scripture verse to trace, or hands-on experiment. Each unit concludes with a vocabulary review. Answer keys for any puzzles, answers to review questions, additional activities, and experiments you can do with your student are found in the back of the book. We greatly encourage you to do as many additional activities and experiments as possible, since children learn more and retain more when they're actively engaged with the material. Thus, Master Books applied knowledge.
Right. A little bit of a difference there is you're going to find your additional activities and your answers all in the back where you would usually find your answer key.
Okay.
So it's kind of a hybrid of an answer key and a teacher guide in the back of the book. So it's a little bit different than some of our other courses are, but that really worked well for this particular course to do it that way.
Okay. Supply list for each unit can be found on pages 8 to 10. Be sure to consult these and gather supplies you need in advance. There's no set timeline for completing each book. You can decide how many days a week you want to do science. We suggest you review the previous lessons often to help your student retain the information they've learned. This course also includes unit vocabulary word reviews. These can be used as assessments like a quiz or test if you wish. A lot of our younger grades don't really have quizzes or tests. I took a call yesterday from somebody who was confused about this. You can use reviews. It's like math lessons. You could use the review portion of that as your quiz. Same with this.
There are some states that require grades. Like in New York, I needed something that I could use as a quiz or a test in order to give my quarterly reports to the state.
Now you could also, let's say you did it without the quiz or test. As a teacher, could you do like, I feel the student has an above average understanding of material, so I give them an A.
Yes.
Or I feel they're average, so I give them
Yes. Some states, though, require that you keep records, and they want to actually see some things.
So they could do the
for
vocabulary
those, you could
reviews.
use those as a quiz or a test, right?
Okay. The course schedule is included with the books, and as always, you can adjust it per the needs of the student. All activities can be modified as needed at your discretion. We're going to talk about that a little bit here too. Okay. One of the pages too, I'll just show you what one of the pages look like.
Let me do that. I'm going to look at something.
So this would be a typical, here's lesson 20. You have the text. You have the answers are actually written out so the student can trace over the answers, identify the type of leaves, identify, different parts. Just very well done as far as that goes. I don't know where that page goes. Here would be an example of some do not touch leaves. And so you can see poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac, and what they would look like. And then some of the questions that the teacher, as you're talking about here, are some poisonous plants. Why did you learn? Why would you want to learn to identify the leaves? Well, obviously, if they're a poisonous leaf, you'd want to know that. Name different ways to identify a tree. And what is your favorite tree? And so it just shows you a little bit for an example. And then, of course, another part of the lesson would be like a connect the dots with leaf types. So you can see this would be it'd be awesome for a lower elementary student to do alongside, especially if you're doing God's Design for Life in an upper elementary, junior high level, and you wanted your lower elementary to go alongside of it. This would just be an awesome resource.
Fantastic. I wanted to show the supply lists. So there's a supply list that they give for each section. So for the plant section, you have your supply list. And as you can see, it's pretty basic household items, but it gives you a chance to check it off to know that you actually have them on hand, because if you're like me, that's going to be the time you're out of something you always have. And so that's the human body. Now these are going to be in addition to the supplies that you need for the older set if your student is going to be doing the activities in this, and you also have older students working in the life.
Okay.
And I just want to show real quick a sample of the schedule so they can see that we do provide a schedule, even though we talk a lot about using it however it best works for their family.
Yes.
So that's the standalone schedule.
Very excited to have this for a science solution for our customers because it is a biblical creationist worldview, and I think just lays a very solid foundation for moving into the high school studies of chemistry, biology, physical science, and astronomy. From what I understand, Answers in Genesis will be rolling out additional beginner series that we will have access to for laying out in our format. So life is this year, and then probably in 2019 there will be another one of the series that'll be done in a beginner. So it'll continue to go forward is what the plans are right now.
Right. And can I just show two more
Absolutely
pages? Because I just want to show you all how beautiful this book really is. It has all the beauty that we're accustomed to in the God's Design and in our master books materials across the board. These are always tricky because trying to
see them. Yep.
Yeah. So that's one. And this is the very next page. I mean, you can see Oops, did I show you the same one?
Yep.
Sorry. You can see these are gorgeous. They're just beautiful. They're very well written, very well done.
And I like how they do where they give the font so the students can write over.
Yes,
that.
they can trace it over, which I think is fantastic as well.
Yes.
Yeah, we are in love with this. I'm really excited. I'm what holds me back from excitement is my youngest student is going into 4th grade. So I can't use this. But I'm excited that my grandkids get to use this.
You can't use the beginners.
I can't use the beginners, yeah.
But we can use the other.
Yes. But I love the beginners. It's beautiful.
We have almost all of the other series in the 3 through 8th grade are coming in this week. And so we'll be touching on that more. I may even do an additional Facebook Live through the week because I'm just so excited about having this for families. We've always thought we've been marketing God's Design Science for a lot of years. But what I really like is the way that we've made this open and go, and that it has the more independence for older students and some of those things. So, okay. So with God's Design, I think
one last thing, as with the older series, this is a Master Books edition that you can only purchase from Master Books.
Right.
If you're purchasing from other resellers or from Answers in Genesis, you're going to get the Answers in Genesis edition.
Right. We have a special license that we can only sell at convention or on masterbooks.com.
Right.
So, okay. Carrie asks, do you have an idea of new courses are coming out that may or may not have been advertised yet? Will there be any new ones this fall that have not been advertised already? As far as this fall, no. In the works, we do have some exciting projects, probably 2019. Of course, language lessons. Now, language lessons 3 is about to go to printer.
Yes.
And we'll be shipping hopefully in August.
Yes, that's the plan.
And then 4, you've already begun writing that.
I've just started.
Okay.
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
And that's
when there's been no words put to paper yet. We started the planning of it. Yes.
For a lot of the not the hard work, but from here, the hard work, because the template
is already laid.
The design template and whatnot. Yeah. And so that one is scheduled to come out by the end of the year.
Yeah, we have winter down for that. It could go sooner, but we don't like to let people, hang their everything on that.
Right.
So we're not far enough down that road yet to have a really good idea of dates. I'm hoping. I want to use it. I have a son who's going into 4th grade. And so my homeschool plans are on hold along with everybody else's waiting for this. And so there was some discussion about, well, what do you do if you have a 4th grader? And what I'm going to do with my son is I'm going to take level 3. The last quarter of both levels 2 and level 3 is a review of all the basic grammar concepts and writing concepts. And the reason for that is the kids at these levels, what happens is they learn what a noun is, what a verb is, all these types of things. They learn all of that, and then they go play. And then they come back again and, Mom, what was a noun again? And so that repetition is really important for kids this age, to go back and review it again, and so that they can actually get it into their long-term memory. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that last quarter and we're going to start there, and I'll probably do the time limit. So we'll do, okay, I want you to do 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, of language lessons each day. And however far he gets in that time frame is as far as he gets. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go through his work, and if there's areas that I feel like he really didn't understand, then what I'll do is the next day I'll have him go back and actually do those lessons, and we'll just continue that until level 4 comes in.
Okay. Samantha asks about elementary zoology and the God's Design. I think, depending on the grade, but I think that would be a pretty intensive.
Yeah, I would separate those by 2. I mean, you could use the animal book as a reference book,
right?
If you were going through the God's Design, and then you could still do the zoology course.
The zoology course was no joke. I mean, it's a pretty comprehensive
it's a solid
course.
So I probably wouldn't do both at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, you could, but you're just loading up a pretty hefty.
Yeah. If you were to do anything that you were going to combine like that, I would only then do just the animal portion of the God's design and not do the world of plants and the human body, because those can be separated, the three topics. So that's a possibility, but that's an awful lot of work. For mom. I've done that. In fact, I'm doing that this year because my one son, I forget what course he wanted to take of ours. He wanted to do one, but then he wanted to do the human body. So I worked it in, but I dropped parts. Oh, it was zoology. So he's taking zoology, but he really wants to do the human body, but he didn't want to do the dinosaur book. So I kind of created my own, but that was a lot of work. So if you want to put that kind of work into it, it can be done, but I would suggest dropping some components of one or the other or both.
So it doesn't work well when we tell somebody they shouldn't do it and you're doing it.
I know.
Okay.
I'm very eclectic and sorry about that. Well, I wouldn't do both. Like, I'm not doing both at the same time, all components of it.
Right.
I kind of did a hybrid and I merged my own.
Right.
So, yeah.
I'm just being funny.
I know you are.
We do have the coloring books, and that's something that we just had all these coloring books that the moms of Master Books have embraced.
Yes.
And we really need to look at ways to bring those in as supplements and stuff as well. So
those are really good.
Okay. So a couple of things. We have the Bible journaling curriculum that's being done by Rebecca at Homeschool On, and I'm excited about that because that will actually be that'll be spring of 2019.
Yeah.
That'll be a journaling curriculum that all works together for K through 12th.
Yeah, we just had a discussion about that in the meeting, and as soon as we get some things sent off to the printer that everybody's waiting for, we'll be laying out the design template for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's exciting. The zoology, we have the new animal book that's coming. Look at that. God's Big Book of Animals. Yep. That will be one of the bases of the new zoology course. And there might be some more included in that, but that should be 2019 as well because we want to get that replaced.
You know, Logic on your list.
Logic is advertised. She had asked about advertised, but we do have the Logic course, which is coming out, which I spoke about. That'll be out this fall. Phenomenal must-have course.
Absolutely.
And then we have a civics course that I'm excited about that I believe is moving forward. That's going to be DVD based, cover the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah, we're hopeful on that. We haven't signed on the dotted line yet, but it's
really close.
It's really close. Yeah, Tim is putting together the last of the contract. So
and it was what I love about that when I did the preview of that course is it looks at the Constitution from a biblical creation perspective, that we are created beings and that there are rights. And it goes back to when you try to destroy the Constitution, you take away the creation aspect, and it was really, it fit our worldvioush perfect. So
and that's a video
that's video based.
That's a video based course, but those are always nice.
So that combined with our economics course will make up the perfect social studies 11th or 12th grade course. So
New York required both civics and government. Or no,
civics and economics.
Civics and economics, yes.
Right. And so
we'll have both.
Yeah. So that one's awesome. And then language lessons, we have a planning meeting that has to still come into effect as to what we do, but there will be some more language lessons being developed as well in 2019.
Right now, the plan is to do level 5 and then redo the Bible, English, and grammar course into 6. To match the same style. We'll try to keep as much of the content the same. The same things will be covered, but we'll just redo them a little bit. And then we're going to redo basic language skills for level 1. Again, keeping the same basic content, the same basic idea, but putting it in the language lessons for living education format.
Right.
So if possible, I mean, we'll try to get those done next year. Those are next 2019
Yeah, everything we're
projects.
talking about realistically would be for your 2019-2020 school year.
Correct.
So what you see in the catalog, or if you download the catalog, anything that you see, that's really what's in the works are going to be available for this school year or the second semester of the school year.
Right. And all of this that we've been talking about up and coming, based on Carrie's question, these are things that will be available for the following school year.
Yes. Okay. Carrie with a K is asking the appropriate time estimate for elementary student if they used all master books. I would say the good estimation or approximate estimation would be 30 to 45 minutes per day per subject.
Yeah. Some will do less.
Right.
Some will do more. It just depends on the student. I would never want my students to go past, say, doing school 9 to 2 in the lower grades. That would be what I would expect our school day to look like, with breaks and lunch breaks and all of that. So it shouldn't take you past 2 o'clock. And there'll be some kids that are done by noon. It just depends on the family. And if you're doing everything all together, if you're combining subjects, then mom isn't so spread out. So that's going to also change how quickly you can get through your school day.
Which is exceptional, considering when I was in school, my average school day was, if you included detention time, like 7 hours, right?
My school day was a lot shorter than yours.
It was a lot shorter.
But I went to different schools than you did, so it must be the schools that we went to that
only
made
for a
the
while.
difference.
Only for a while.
Up until
you
high
knew
school,
you knew
yeah.
what you were getting.
Yeah,
So,
you did spend a lot of time in detention.
It was where I was able to think. I've reflected on the day. I wrote new goals.
I know I keep asking to be put in detention, but nobody will let me
See?
go to
If only we
detention
could have
now.
adult detention. Yeah.
Can I just sit and have my own thoughts for a few hours, please?
Well, Carrie, I would say if you did 30, if you set as a kind of a basic 30 to 45 minutes per subject. So if you did 5 subjects, 2.5 to 3 hours would be kind of an average, but it all depends on students. We have 2 students. One will work dramatically hard to get the goal done. The other will daydream. For every minute of work, there's going to be 2 minutes of daydreaming.
Minimum.
Which I understand. and then you also need to have a minute for him to verbalize what he's daydreamed.
A minute. That's definitely flat out wrong. At least 5 minutes.
Okay. So.
Yeah, I try to be done with school by 2 o'clock for the elementary grades and younger. Once they get into, say, 7th, 8th grade in high school, it may take them till maybe a 9 to 3 sort of a time frame. If they've got extra projects and they're doing some essay work and some things like that are more time consuming, or like the experiment, say in the chemistry, you want to add a little more time for those sorts of things. When a public school sets up their day, there's a ton of wasted time in there. And so for a homeschooler, we can get through our subjects a lot quicker because we don't have the transitions of classes. We don't have to get 20 kids settled down, although sometimes it can feel like 3 kids or 20. But yeah, it's just an entirely different scenario, an entirely different setup.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to take a traditional school mindset and fit it in, when I say we do school from 9 to 2 or 9 to 3, that doesn't mean that's all book work time.
Right.
In fact, some of that time is I want you to go play with Legos, or I want you to pick out a book, or I want you to play this math game, or, let's have a discussion about something.
So that they're just not
there's structure
in your face the whole time, and that they're learning to entertain and
right. Plus, I work from home, so I'm in the schoolroom for a set period of time, and that's the time to ask me your questions about schoolwork.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, you want to know about how long it's going to take, but it should never take beyond
actual school time, beyond like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Desiree says, poor Randy. I
Poor
appreciate
Randy.
that.
Oh, poor Randy.
I can assure you.
Poor Randy.
I can assure you there was none of my teachers or supervisors were ever saying poor Randy.
No. And I have one of his mini me's to get through homeschooling, and
you're blessed.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that sanctification.
He's an awesome kid, but sometimes it's like, okay, we need to actually discuss what you need for your schoolwork at this point. What did you need help with?
Of all the boys on detention, I was the one that caught your eye. All right. Let's see. Do you teach diagramming sentences in language lessons?
She says, please say no. No. I'm not a fan of diagramming. Now, my oldest son loves diagramming sentences. So
he claims it made him the boy he is.
Yeah.
The man
so, but I'm not going to do diagramming in the younger grades. We might approach that if we do a 7th and 8th grade level, have some optional diagramming activities, because there are people who either love them or there are people who hate them. It seems to be one court or the other. You just have to pick sides. It just seems to be the way it is with diagramming. So I would not, because I personally am not a lover of diagramming, but I respect those who do. So in the upper grade levels, I would like them to have some sort of familiarity so that they at least know what it is, and leave it to the parent as to whether they're actually going to do them or not.
Okay. So as long as we're on that topic, okay, right now, language lessons 1, somebody asked when that's going to be coming out, most likely 2019. But currently, it almost is available, not in this complete same format, but the basic structure in basic language skills.
Right. I put together this course, and so it follows a lot of my way of doing it and my way of thinking, and it uses the real, like in the language lessons 2, you're co-reading with your student. Same thing here. You're taking real books and you're co-reading with your student, just the same. So there's a lot of things in here that, even though it doesn't look as pretty as this one, it still has a lot of the same function in it. And so we are going to update this to look more like that and to have the same, feel. And we've learned a lot too. And so we will probably upgrade some things as well. But I do want to make mention, for those of you who love the dictionary component, Craig Froman actually created this concept. And so that's something that they did as a family. And so we put that concept into our basic language skills and carried it over to the language lessons for a living education.
Good.
So, this is packed with a lot of meat. It's set up a little bit different. We have the instructions in the front instead of on the worksheets as they go, but it's really foundational. And I really encourage people to not skip over this course and go right into the language lessons for living education. While I do take a gentle approach to it, it's still very comprehensive. And the students who don't have some of the skills that are in here are going to struggle a little bit in the language lessons if they don't have those down. So I don't recommend skipping this, going right from Foundations Phonics right into that. This and the Foundations Phonics were meant to be used together. We have them as separate courses due to the differences in ability. And so that way a parent would feel free to use phonics in kindergarten, this in 2nd grade, or use both of them in 1st grade if the student wasn't quite ready.
Right. I think Anna, I don't see that she's on today, but she did that. She went with language lessons for living education to realize that it really is 2nd grade heavier. and I think pulled back and is using
for first grade. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the language lessons for living education is definitely for more for a second grade student. I mean, if your kid has already done the basic language skills, then they would be ready for the level 2 of language lessons. But their spelling words are geared more for second grade students. The phonics that's covered in level 2 is for more advanced students. So you really want to take that basic language skills.
Yes, I would say that one of the things, even though that's level 2, if your student hasn't had much grammar in the lower elementary, that you could easily do this level 2 in 3rd or 4th grade.
Yes.
And still have plenty of topic. Like Desiree
absolutely.
said, it looks simple, but there's a lot of depth to that course.
Yes, and one of the things that I will say is I specifically designed spelling to be only on Friday. Now, I encourage you all to work on these spelling words all through the week, or the next week if you want to do it that way. But I encourage you to continue to incorporate spelling into everything you do. But the focus on spelling is only on one day. And that makes it much more flexible for those older students, because they may be way ahead in their spelling, but it's all those other concepts and the writing stamina that they're still working on. And so you could take that day and use, even if, say, as we come out with them, you wanted to use the level 4 spelling, you could bounce to that book for the spelling and do the rest of the grammar and the writing in level 2. Okay. So I wanted to be really flexible. And so, yeah, it definitely can be used for older students.
Okay. So one of the things that we have sometimes in people who are new to master books, it's confusing because we do things more with grade ranges. Like that's a perfect example. We call it level 2. Ideally, 2nd grade would be where it would be if all things were in a perfect world. Right. But we realize we don't homeschool in a perfect world. We have different aptitudes, different students. And so we like to keep things, we don't like commitment. And so we tend to say this would be suitable for a student that is capable of writing a sentence, has the stamina to write a sentence.
Yes, you want your student going into level 2 to be able to copy a sentence.
Right.
So that their punctuation doesn't have to be perfect, their structure does not have to be perfect, but they should have the stamina and the ability to actually write out a sentence. Going into level 3, they should be able to copy 3 to 4 sentences, but it's even, I would prefer that they be able to at least create some of those sentences out of their own mind, because they are going to have to do, you can give prompts. So what I would do is I would say, like, let's say they just got a new puppy, find something that's very close to them. So let's say they just got a new puppy. Write me 3 sentences about Spot. And if they're able to do that, then they're absolutely ready to go into level 3.
Okay. So a lot of our curriculum, like our math, elementary math, is set up as its levels, but it's in loosely you can attach it to a grade, but it's really skill-based. Our sciences, there's grade ranges because you can use them for multiple grades. You can do multi-classrooms. So there's a lot of flexibility. And sometimes people who don't completely understand master books, or maybe some of our critics right now in other groups or whatnot, will say that, you know,
there's not enough.
There's not enough, or we're rigid or whatever. We know we have 9 children. If you don't know us, we're husband and wife, married. And so we have 9 children, and there's all different aptitudes, skill sets, personalities, different seasons of life. Master books is one solution, and there's a lot of other great solutions. And so we know that, and we also know that what works for one 2nd grader doesn't work for every 2nd grader. So we want to give parents as much flexibility to adapt this, make it their own, but we also realize that you're combining this with other products, other styles, everything else. So While it may be confusing, if you just think about it this way, we try to give you as much freedom as possible, but also give you the most comprehensive solution so that when you get language lessons for a living education 2, it's open and go. I can open it. I know exactly what to do on day 1, what pages to turn to, what to do. My teacher guides and everything are all, it's easy. And so, as far as grade ranges and stuff, where the confusion lies, the best thing to do is, you have a 4th grader, you can click on the scope and sequence and see, okay, in 4th grade, this is what they would recommend. And then from there begin to narrow it down. What's the style? Because we also have multiple styles of curriculum. We have 3 language arts curriculum. And so where other solutions may only have 1 approach, 1 solution, we have 3 that we're bringing, and each one is going to be tailored to a different personality. So I would look at it more like there's a whole lot of freedom here. And of course, the Moms of Master Books, every time a mom comes in and is confused and asks questions, the most awesome advice is coming from other moms who are using the curriculum. So if you have a question, don't be afraid to ask it, and then know that there's flexibility.
And I would also say how I try to explain our approach is we all have bookshelves at home that we keep our readers on. And we usually sort them according to, we have our board books together, we have our early readers together, we have our you know, maybe our mid-readers chapter books, that's what I'm looking for, chapter books together. And then we have our thicker, heavier duty chapter books together. But nowhere do we separate, okay, you're in kindergarten, so you have to go to the kindergarten shelf, and you only pick books from those kindergarten shelves. You know, and we don't separate our bookshelves by grades. And that just wouldn't even make sense to most of us. But we take our curriculum and we do that. And so really, it's not about separating every shelf with a specific, we design it more like you would your bookshelf. You're going to have kids with different interests. You're going to have kids that have different abilities. I mean, just, you know, one kid might be fantastic in math and fly through it, but might struggle in a different area and go a little slower. And so that's our approach. It's to match what we do with our bookshelves rather than it is to your public school stair step.
So if you have a student who's in 4th or 5th grade who really doesn't understand grammar, I wouldn't be afraid to pull them back a little bit into a lower level. It's not great. It's skill-based learning, and applied knowledge is really what we're trying to emphasize in a lot of what we do.
But for placement purposes, I would go by their writing ability rather than their exposure to formal grammar.
Fair enough. Because
we do repeat teaching basic grammar. There's a lot of review there.
Right. We looked, Carity, who's one of the moderators in the group, did a placement test for language arts that she submitted.
It's not really a test. It's a sheet that shows.
Kind of a placement guide.
A placement guide, yeah, that would be a better.
And so we've looked at that. I think it's awesome. Carity's helped a lot with helping organize thought in that area. So we'll be putting that up into the group as well. Hopefully today I'll get that uploaded, or have Carity do it if she would. Because I think that will help know what curriculum, where, that type of thing. And I'm going to actually use that, I think, on the website itself as a placement.
And I will be developing a placement test once we get the series completed. Right now, it's a little premature to do that because we're only dealing with, you know, a couple of levels. And so once we get more levels completed, then we'll actually do a test.
Now, so we used to have a full grade, and of course we may have differing opinions here. So we used to have we used to have a full grade set, and I pushed to remove it from the catalog this year because we have so many new products coming out. And in 2019, we should have enough product to actually start recommending a basic 4 grade set, which would have math, language, science, and social studies. Mm-hmm. And then parents could add an elective if they wanted to. And so for like 2nd grade, we have, I think, the best math solution on the market. We have a phenomenal history solution in My Story 2, or a social studies curriculum. We would have the God's Design for Beginners, mm-hmm. would be a perfect solution. And then we have the language lessons for living education. So we will have from grades 2 through 10 a pretty good solution for all of those grades of basic 4 set. So for some families who just say, I've got a student that's in 5th grade, I'm overwhelmed by all the choices, give me your 5th grade complete set. In 2019, you'll see our complete sets coming back in a basic 4 model. Mm-hmm. And then that'll be the same discount as your creative bundle and that type of thing. So I know there's been some questions coming in about full grade bundles and stuff.
And somebody did ask if we're just taking questions on language arts, and no, this is open. We just got kind of hung up on it.
Yeah, we're just trying to answer as many questions as we can, mm-hmm. because we know a lot of you are making some last minute decisions. And
we will go back in. If we didn't answer your question, we will go back in and type out responses today. So be looking for that as well.
Yep. So the biggest thing to realize when you're dealing with master books is we want to make it easy. We understand what it's like to homeschool in the real world.
Right.
And that sometimes you go through seasons where you just need a book that you can hand to the student and say, get it done. There are other times that you want to come in and be more involved. And so we try to give the basic foundation but also make it as easy to adapt. We want to make it so you can do multiple class students together when that works.
Mm-hmm. We also have families that just have bents towards things, like science might be their thing, and they want to do every experiment, every activity there is to do. And there's other moms that just groan and completely stress out at the thought of even one activity.
Right.
And so we try to make those as optional as possible, so you can pick and choose how deep to go. Others, history is their thing. And again, we try to give options to go deeper in those things if that's a direction the family wants to go. We really want to put the decisions into your hands, but give you the basics to work with, so you have a solid course.
There are some of us who like the thought of being the hands-on homeschooler, but that's where it kind of ends. So in that case, it works really well too, because you're not alone, because we can understand.
We tend to be that way. I like to give my students the tools. So I like to go through, get that supply list, have it all available, and then tell the kids, okay, go get it, go do the experiment. It's not that, I mean, I love science and I love doing experiments, but the issue is I'm juggling a whole lot of things and I can't handhold. And it always seems like I'm juggling a lot of things. It used to be I was juggling babies, and now I'm juggling language lessons for living education.
Yeah, the worst is when they come up to you at 5 o'clock at night and say, I need to go to the store. I need baking soda and tinfoil and tartar strips or something crazy that we got to go to Walmart and figure out. That's when you just start the whole, come on.
So that's why that's why I put in those lists and make it easy to check it off. And because I am that mom.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Something else that I think, and this has been a conversation that's come up in the Moms Master Books. In a public school setting, teachers don't do the entire textbook. They're happy if they do 75% of a textbook. And so, we want to make it so you can do every lesson in that. I think you have to give yourself a little bit of freedom to know that it's not realistic. Say
as he says, not as I do. I'm one of those, it's really hard for me not to finish the book. Yeah, it's very hard for me, but I'm stretching myself. I'm making myself not finish every book. It helps that I have a special needs student. And so he thrives on consistency. And so he cannot take off from school in the summer because that routine is crucial to keeping him balanced. And so I take the extra that we didn't finish and have him do it over the summer.
So we went to school. We went to high school together. Kristen graduated a year early. I didn't graduate a year behind, but I was barely. So in an ACE school, if you went to an ACE school, you'll understand this. They have goal charts. They have progress charts where you get little stars every time you complete something. If you get 100, you put a Bible sticker on. So for some reason, they thought it was a good idea to set our two desks together. And we've been together. I was 14, you were 13. So we've been opposites for a long time. We were a thing, but our two charts sat up there, and I had like the very basic star, meaning
2 to
just
3
barely
per
passed.
quarter.
Yeah, 2 to 3 per quarter. She'd have like every week another Bible on the thing, and if they had said, you don't need to do this book, I would have been like, no problem. And she would have struggled with the fact that there were pages that were not done.
I would have wanted to finish them. I would have wanted to finish it.
Yeah. So for the sake of your kids, please know they don't have to do every single page, every single problem, and the bonus work.
Well, I'm okay not doing the bonus work because that's bonus. That's why we label them as digging deeper and bonus and extra, because it helps me. It helps those like me that, okay, that's optional. If we don't get to it, it's okay. I can sleep. I can sleep that night. So yeah, I'm working on this. I'm a work in progress. I've been homeschooling for over 20 years, so I might be a slow learner in this, but I'm trying really hard. Hey, I did have my son, that's the mini me of him. He got in trouble because he was saying things were done that weren't done.
So he wrote the entire book of Proverbs.
Yes,
he just completed it and did a fantastic job.
And I let him test out of his spelling. So if he was able to spell all of his words correctly, I didn't make him do the spelling lessons that went with it.
Shock. Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, and I gave our kid that has special needs, I gave him all the spelling lessons as part of his work for the summer. Well, it is difficult because I struggle with having enough material just to keep him busy, to keep his routine set, because he needs to stay focused. Yeah, he has to.
Yeah, it's impossible to help the other one focus. So I was glad that you did that. And he did. He actually, when he buckled down, he wrote Proverbs in a pretty short time.
Yeah, and he passed every one of his spelling tests, which I have a feeling, had you been given that choice, you would have passed every single spelling test too.
Heavens, yes.
But how many detentions did you serve?
It was awful. See, you had to set your own goals, right? And so every day you had to set like 4 pages in each subject, and it was just awful. And so I wouldn't do the work, and then the next morning they'd come around to see if I'd crossed off my goals, and then it was never good. So at the end of one year, I had like 600 minutes of built-up detention that I couldn't serve, that they did forgive. I learned about mercy and grace that year. Yeah. All right.
Moving on.
Yes. Okay. So I think, let's see, not at present, let's see, are we a health curriculum? There isn't a health curriculum at present. It's a great idea. It's something, it really is a health curriculum from a Christian perspective that addresses tough topics like sexuality, marriage, male-female gender issues, sexual diseases, and those things that are required in a lot of states. Really would be.
It is. We will be sitting down in, I'm not sure, a month or two and kind of going through our plans, our more long-term plans of what to add. And we did that poll, and we have a beautiful spreadsheet. Who put that together? One of our moderators put that together. So I'm sorry,
Jessica.
I can't remember. Jessica did it? Jessica put together a beautiful spreadsheet. And so we're going to bring that to the meeting and go over it. And so I know that health is one of the requested things. So it's not a no, but it's a not right now. It's not in our short-term plan. but it's definitely something that we would consider longer term at some point addressing.
Laura says her son is copying Proverbs too. What's awesome is when your kid is copying Proverbs and he realizes that you are not the epitome of Proverbs and comes and corrects you with the Proverbs he's learning.
I'm taking that Gabe did that for you.
A little bit, yeah.
Desiree has both a Randy and a Kristen. Well, we do too. Our youngest two are mini me's of each of us. All of our other kids have mixtures, and some are more like one or the other. But for some reason, I think it's God's sense of humor. Our youngest two are the mini me's of the family.
Exact duplicates.
Yeah, where the other kids are a little more balanced. And
you know, it's helped me to be more understanding of how annoying I can be.
I think it's how annoying I can be.
so I have a lot more mercy to be like, yeah, this is what she's been talking about for 20 some years.
And yet you still start each day asking me questions.
Not as many.
That breaks the rules.
Not as many. I showed self-control. After 2 questions, I stopped. Okay, we're going to get way sidetracked. Okay, Proverbs is an awesome exercise. It really is. And our kids, I'm going to tell you, you know, some people would say, oh, that's kind of rough, but our older kids have come back and said, thank you for doing that. And I think Proverbs is just that one book that has a lot of wisdom for training for character and so much. So,
that's why we have them write it, is because if they're not showing wisdom, then they need wisdom.
Yeah, and we do it for serious character issues. We don't do it because, you know, they're not minor. The reason he didn't do it because he didn't do the work. If he had said he did the work, didn't do the work, that would be a different issue, different discipline.
Right.
This is because he said, he crossed off on his sheet and said, I did the work, which was dishonest.
Yeah, and I continually asked him, how is your schoolwork? And, oh, it's great. And I would say, it's done? Oh, yes. And so he lied both verbally and written. And so that's a character issue.
So that's when we do it. It's more for character. Rebellion, lying, stealing, things where we would have concern that if this continues down this path as they become adults.
Ellie asked if we just do it as copy work. Well, copy work is fantastic, and that would be a really good way for them to retain that information, you know, to go through Proverbs that way. But in our situation, we use it when there's a character issue. And so basically they're grounded until their Proverbs is turned in. And so they copy it in a notebook. And so, yeah, we use it as when there's something gone badly wrong, like cheating, lying.
Angela taught in a ACE school, and she had 3 Randys in the class.
Oh, I'm sorry, Angela.
Well, that was the ACE schools were kind of the I guess it would be the last. It'd be the last resort before detention school, juvenile detention.
Yeah, the ACE schools weren't really ideal for the Randys of this world.
No, but I will say, you know, from the literature courses we got, which we learned so much, and the influence of goal setting and those type of things, we have brought a lot of influences into the master books.
The structure is fantastic.
Yes. Okay. Shipping dates. Tabitha asked about Language Lessons 3 shipping out pre-orders on August 20th. August 20th is the tentative date that we have. So it's about to go to printer. It takes about 15 days to 3 weeks to return back. And as soon as we have it, the warehouse crew is turning them out and sending them right out. So Language Lessons 3, August 20th is the tentative date. If we run into, at the end of the year, I've already talked to Tim about this, if we come close to those dates and there's an issue, then we're going to connect with everybody who has a pre-order and send the digital copy to you so that you could at least print off the first couple of sheets or the first week and be able to do the book. So one way or another, we're going to keep you covered. We can't do that, you know, like right around the end of August, you'll hear from us. If it's not close to being right there where we're shipping it, then we'll make sure that you have something that you could start the school year with if you're waiting for it.
On our end, I think these are coming in. I mean, so many of them are going to the printer this week. but we can't control what happens if the printer has issues,
Right.
has a sudden shortage of paper and has to wait for a shipment. Things like that happen. And so, you know, or something gets lost en route to us. You know, we can't control all of those. So those are the dates that we expect it in, but please don't start contacting us on the 20th. I didn't get a ship notice. We will be diligent in updating everybody in the group on where things are at,
Right.
To the best of our knowledge.
We'll keep posting dates,
Right.
so that we keep people updated.
Yeah.
The question Jennifer's asked, copies for copying Proverbs ages. Fourth grade
grade-ish.
For the entire book, all 31 chapters. We have done in some of the lower grades, especially as they're developing handwriting, we've done like
Yeah.
1 chapter or 6 verses
Right.
or something like that. So,
even in 4th grade, I mean, you know your 4th grader and what they're capable of doing. And
Right.
so we tend to do a little bit more than what is going to be comfortable for them, because it has come, we don't want to necessarily call writing scripture punishment, but it has, you know, they're writing it because they did something that they shouldn't have done.
And typically when that happens in our family, if you get Proverbs assigned, you forego all other privileges, so to speak. So that you're not playing games, you're not watching TV, you're not doing things, fun things. And so even though we had family come, as much as possible, he was to finish his writing Proverbs while everybody else is, because he made choices, right? And so what we want to instill in him is that you chose to sacrifice your character, and you did this, and it's costing you, and there's a consequence. And because of that, you've got to complete the punishment, so to speak, or the discipline for this, the training for this, before you can resume life as normal, because that's the way life works, right? If I do something illegal and they arrest me and put me in jail, I forego the privileges of good character, so that when I've served my time, then I have to rebuild trust, and I have to begin reestablishing myself again. And so we just want to create in them the discipline for self-control, so that as they become adults, they understand cause and effect and consequences, and also to train themselves. So it's, for us, we've done this. Our oldest wrote Proverbs probably 6 times in her career.
At least. That's Carrie, the author of Foundation Phonics.
Yes, who is an unbelievable young lady.
Oh, wonderful. In fact, she has a blog called An Everyday Mom. It's just phenomenal.
She's a good writer because she had a lot of practice. She
had a lot of practice.
Now, here's a word of encouragement for some of you that have strong-willed children. She was extremely strong-willed, was very difficult all the way through school, but she did it, and we got through it. And then she went to Liberty University. She did the Liberty Online, and was on the dean's list.
Right. And
she was bitter because
I would tell her, Carrie, I'm bitter because you give them your effort and your best, and all she did with us was fight. But God knows, and don't give up on these kids that just really give you a tough time. I mean, she's phenomenal. She's a phenomenal wife and mom, and she is working and doing a phenomenal job. She's a stay-at-home mom, but she does something that she can do from home. Plus, you know, she's an author, and I'm pretty proud of her.
The Lord gives us, I think, sometimes these kids that don't necessarily fit in the box well, or they're fighting and they have a lot of strength, and we wrestle them, that the Lord has special purposes for strong-willed children. And you have to endure it. But in the process, you know, we always said the Lord had a purpose for her, and he had a promise, and we've seen it, and we've seen it begin to unfold. But there were days.
I expelled her. We won't go into that whole story, but he came home and I said, I'm just done. And yet, you know, God used those things, not just in Carrie's life, but in our life. And it's actually part of the story of why we're here today. And so it's this girl that had grit, that, you know, was just
Yeah.
just about did me in. But you know, God was faithful and so good. And
now we came from Western New York, and so we've gone really long on this one, but we came from Western New York, and so Niagara Falls is there. And it's amazing when you go to Niagara Falls, if you go a little bit behind the scenes and see the power, tour of the power facilities, to realize how much, I think, what is it, like it's 60 or more % of the water that goes over Niagara Falls is diverted into the power plant. And they channel that and create tremendous amounts of energy. And we'd talk about this with her as well.
We actually did field trips there to the power plant
to show. Yeah. And I would tell her, God has given you the power of Niagara Falls. I mean, she just had tremendous strength and power. But if it's not controlled, it's destructive.
And the falls actually has receded over time. And they tell you how much it would have receded if they hadn't have diverted.
Like a considerable amount.
Right. And so it's a twofold thing. Not only is having that power directed into a useful place, it prevented the destruction, but at the same time, it's useful for the entire area. In fact, one of our sons still lives in that area, and his electric is cheap as dirt because they're fed by that power plant.
Right, right. So what we're teaching our strong-willed children and our creatives is control. It's self-control. And so as you do that, you're helping them to use productive energy rather than destructive energy. And so as a parent, think of yourself as you're teaching them to look at the daily sheet. And when you're saying, okay, this is what we're going to do day one, we're setting a goal. And when you do it, you cross it off and you tell me that you did it. What you're doing is you're beginning to teach them the how to channel that and have control and be accountable and discipline, so that when they as they become adults, they're able to channel that strength and that energy into productive rather than destructive things. So we've gone way off on a tangent, but okay.
Yes, you can use things that aren't listed under the grade level your child is in.
Yes, absolutely.
And adapt.
Absolutely.
It's your tool, not your master. All curriculum.
100%. 100%. We could go on for days about there is no such thing as average. There is no perfect solution in anything. You are the teacher. This is a tool. This is not the teacher, right? And so use this as a tool to accomplish the jobs that God has given to you in discipling and training up your child. And if Master Books fits your style, fits your student, fits your need, perfect. If not, well, then, we know that we're not the only solution that God has given. But again, we always say, know the worldview of the authors, because it's so important. Foundations that we lay in our children's life, especially in the elementary levels, I mentioned last week, but we're amazed at the age of a child beginning to ask big questions. As some of our younger students are starting to ask big questions, they're almost stumpers. And I can't imagine having a curriculum that undermined the worldview we wanted to.
Or just didn't address it, ignored it entirely. Because that sends a message too.
Yes. So, okay, let's see.
7-year-old who'd be 8, I would look at either Foundations Phonics or the Basic Language Skills. I would look at those samples online, and you be the judge of where you think she would best fit in. I said, yeah, it is a she. And Jessica, God bless you. Yeah. those strong-willed ones. You'll be doing a lot of praying.
We have a son that just visited recently, and he brought his daughter, our granddaughter. She is the sweetest, easiest going, and you just sit there thinking, I don't
None
think
of
we
my
had one of
kids were
those.
like that. None of them.
I kept telling him, do you realize like what you got? Like this is nothing. But he knows because he babysat enough of his brothers and sisters. He's like, I know. Shh, it's all good. So, all right. Well, I think we've gone on long enough.
Yep.
We'll monitor this. If there's more questions, if this format worked for you, be sure to let us know, because maybe for the next couple weeks we could actually do a couple more question and answer sessions, where we can just help in the decisions that are being made. And again, we certainly appreciate the opportunity and the honor to serve this group. And what a blessing it is. What a blessing so many of you are to our family, to this company, to what we are able to do for the kingdom of God and his glory. So with that, I will say goodbye. Do you have anything else?
I do not.
All right. Well,
Have
God bless y'all. It was good spending time with you today.